Do you know of an ordinary person with a very basic academic background? Someone who just went through class after class, grades after grades, with no A's and B's to boast about. Well, I have a confession to make. I'm one such ordinary, average guy. With my basic understanding of maths, by the way, my wife here knows much better than I do. Uh, isn't average the best representative of a set of data? It's a wrong example, but I so want to prove my point here of being ordinary and being average. My metric papers came up in 1992, but so did the Cricket World Cup. Yeah, I know I'm guilty. And being a die-hard cricket fan, I made a strategic decision of following the live cricket matches whatsoever happens, because after all, a Cricket World Cup comes after every 4 years, and I have a liberty to reappear from the metric exams next year. Now, now this strategic decision backfired, which led me to less than 50% marks in my metric exams, and needless to say, my parents were not impressed a bit. The following year, my father bought Commodore 64 from USA, and within days of its usage, I got pretty good at it. I created a small code which could copy the game from the external cassette drive all the way to the Commodore 64's internal hard disk. And that software actually went pretty viral in the market that year. That was a time where I realized my love lied with computers. But the problem was I belonged to an era and where they taught English starting from the primary in government schools. So getting a regular computer education in schools was not a choice. Well, the years went past by. So did I. Kept trundling from one class to another, and at times finding it very hard to clear my final exams. But somehow I was lucky enough to snail forward at a very low pace. In 1997, I started doing MBA. Do not know how did I get there, but I did. I went to a local bookstore with my friend, and I saw a magazine with a picture of Bill Gates on the cover. No, I didn't know who Bill Gates was. I didn't know who Bill Gates was, and my friend told me that he's the next big sensation, and he is the richest man in the earth. So I grabbed a copy of the magazine, went home, and while going through his story later in the evening, the first thing which impressed me naturally was he was a college dropout. No, while going through his story, I learned that he has created an operating system which has a graphical interface to it, something which was unheard of. I also came to know about his plans of innovating computers and making it a necessity in everyone's life. That was exciting, coming from a computer background. That really encouraged me to learn more about computers and learn the technologies. In 1997, internet was in its very new days in Pakistan, and while searching for the similar tech stories, I stumbled across the story of Steve Jobs. Now, before you laugh, he was another college dropout. And his story was far more impressive than Mr. Gates, just because not only he reacquired the company, he was once forced to quit for one reason or another, but he also took his company Apple to the success level where he took Microsoft in a heads-on operating system competition. That inner soul searching revealed where my career lied at, and I wanted to move forward with computers, but I had to find out the ways to monetize my passion with computers. So while searching in Yahoo, and by the way, if you think I do not know what about Google, Google was not invented before 1998, 12th April. So I came to know that the best way to earn online is by learning web design and development, and then you can offer those services in a freelance marketplace. A freelancer is the one who's self-employed, who is a boss of his own, works from the comfort of couch at home, something a lazy individual like me love doing, and is responsible for getting the projects done on time, on budget, on schedule, and it's only answerable to the employer who hires them for that one particular job. So naturally pleased with computers and wanted to pursue my career. After doing my MBA, I did work for an organization for almost a year, but I could not cope with the stiff neck environment. Dr. Saab, don't look at me like that. But I couldn't cope with that stiff neck environment, and I resigned from my job. Went back to my parents and told father about yet another strategic decision. This time my wedding was just around the corner, 6 months precisely, and here I am with nothing to do, literally. So I convinced him that I wanted to pursue my career as a freelancer, because web design and web development is in its early days, and there's no saturation in this business, and I should be good enough for that. The reason that I had a determination to prove a point where someone who's always been an ordinary or below average student all his life, once they find a work or a passion which is what they like to do, they can succeed in it. After a lot of negotiations, we principally, me and my father, agreed on a point that I will go out of my house and rent out a small office. His whole concept was life starts outside the comfort of your house. Now, I acquired a small office space in the first floor of a very noisy place called Bakra Mandi, where on the ground floor it was occupied by whom I called my comrades, the denters and painters with the similar tools, designs and painting. Worked hard, had no choice, of course, because with my determination to stay resilient on my stance and prove the people around me that there's a life inside computers, there's a life inside a so-called new world, which they called e-world, and I can make a reasonable living out of it. There were few low points, but whenever I was down, I used to see this motivational talk of Rocky Balboa, a movie, while giving a motivational speech to his son, which goes like, world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very tough, nasty, and a mean place, and I don't care how tough you are. It will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently. Now you, me, or ain't nobody can hit as hard as life, but it is not about how hard you hit. It is about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward. Now if you know your worth, go out and fetch your worth, but you got to be willing to take the hit. That's how winning is done. That's how you switch from ordinary to extraordinary. So that, that movie taught me that life is organic, life is not linear. You can craft the ways, the direction you want your life to be led to, and that's what I did. I took a decision and stood firm on my stance, and I wanted to prove a point. So within 4 months, I earned a reasonable $4,000, made my father proud for the first time in my life, pretty late in my career, and I know I'm guilty. So everything went according to the plan, got married, and kept working hard. At times, I used to sleep under my desk to meet the deadlines of the clients, and my workload grew. Unfortunately, so did my waistline. So had to move to a much bigger place, which is Lalazar, an army colony, and hired 10 plus people to work for me, few interns, few full-time employees. Looking back at few years, I did not know where I was heading for, but that one magazine, one motivational talk really changed my life. Uh, Kept working hard to the point, ladies and gentlemen, that I am the first Pakistani who ranks in top 10 in one of the largest freelance marketplace called Guru.com. I'm not much pleased with, but that's not how I want to be known. But I'm also the first Pakistani freelancer who has earned over $1 million US in sales in 7 years precisely on Guru.com. And as a reward of my services, I'm given an exclusive testimonial on their homepage, a space allotted for 3 other Americans. If we are to give our kids a foundation to live their dreams, an opportunity worthy of their promise, then we got to give them a horizons to explore the choices of their selection. That's what I did as an attempt to pay back to my community, to my people, to Pakistan. I have opened an initiative called Being Guru. Now, Being Guru is a social video learning platform where we teach kids doing free videos. There are 10,000 registrations in a very short time, 3 months precisely, from all over Pakistan, the likes of Dadu in Sindh, Zob in Balochistan, Texla, even North Waziristan, and there are people who are watching the videos to learn how to get started with freelancing, how to shift gears from beginners to intermediate all the way to the advanced level, and all those videos are free. Because what I believe is there's no shortage of talent in Pakistan. Pakistan is blessed with huge amounts of talent, but the problem is they are at dark and there's no one to guide them. Our IT minister, Anusha Rahman, while giving a speech in 2015, she revealed that IT sector has become one of the fastest growing sectors in Pakistan, and it has grown 41% in last year, and a lot of that contribution is done by the freelancers all over Pakistan. So that talent has to be nurtured. So we decided to come up with this initiative where we are teaching kids doing free videos. So there are few success stories of Being Guru in a very short time, and there are 2, considering the shortage of time, I'll share with you. The first one is of a lady from Swat, physically disabled, disowned by her parental family because of her love marriage and unfortunately divorced. She saw my story on one of the blogs on internet, and she contacted me on Being Guru page, which went something like, son, I want you to teach me how to catch fish. I do not want you to catch the fish and hand it over to me. Naturally moved, I decided to give her my personal mentoring. Spent a lot of time with her on Skype, went through few sessions, taught her about how to get started with freelancing. She did BA, so she was pretty good in writing English. And then after a couple of months, hard months, got her signed up on freelancer marketplace where she started earning money. Last month she contacted me and told me that she has won an annual contract with one of the airliner manufacturer company in Arizona, and she is planning to move to Islamabad because she wants to have an office where she can hire more content writers to work for her. And the best part is her kids are back in school. An ordinary life, an ordinary life switched to extraordinary. Now the second success story is of a guy, a truck art designer whose father passed away last year, the eldest of 3 brothers. He sent me a message which was it literally moved me. Sometimes I get tears when I talk about this success story, because this guy was finding it very hard to meet ends, to provide for his family, and he sent me a message saying that if I do not teach him how to do freelancing, he does not find a purpose to live a life. Now, naturally fearing that the boy might just commit suicide, I had to come on front and help him out. After all, someone else did when I had no clue where to head in as far as my life was concerned. So started giving him personal time on Skype, mentored him. The challenge here was far bigger than the challenge of the SWATs lady because she knew how to use computers. But this guy, being a truck art designer, he didn't know how to use computers. So by we I mean me and my office team, spent a lot of time with him on Skype, taught him how to use computers, taught him how to use the tools of Photoshop so that he can create artwork. And then, of course, the ABCs of freelancing, you know, the do's and don'ts. Spent a lot of time with him, and last month, this guy contacted us saying that he earned $100 and has been doing it for the last 2 months, and he's good, and he finds life as a pretty cool thing. Another ordinary life switched to extraordinary. If we are to give our kids a foundation to live their dreams and an opportunity worthy of their promise, then we got to give them a baseline to do that. And that's what I came up with. You know, the whole thing is, the best part is, if you are a below average student, do not think you are a failure. There are a million other ways to become successful in your life. You only have to find the love in the work you want to do, and you will be successful in it naturally. And when you taste success, do that with a gauge of humility and an ability to heal a device which always held back your progress. That's how an ordinary life gets switched to extraordinary. The lesson here is never give up on yourselves. Thank you. Thank you.